Freshman 15 conversation. Each week this fall, we want to provide you with tools and tips to help you experience success academically and personally. Today, I'm speaking with one of our current Trinity River Chi Alpha members, Mary Maturo. Why don't you share a little bit about yourself?
My name is Mary Maturo, and I'm the senator for Chi Alpha. I've been in TCC for about 3 years now. I served as a tour guide / student leader last year for P3 program, and I love being here. And being in Chi Alpha especially has been a really big part of that. I think it's turned what it's normally a place that you go and come to a place that you can call home.
While this fall is unlike any other, there are some basic rules that can help every freshman make the adjustment to college life. Mary, thank you for being a part of this series of the Freshmen 15. Can you just tell us what adjustment to college life that you found to be most challenging?
I was homeschooled, so a really large chunk of it was being on campus in the first part. But I started out at Northeast campus, and it was bigger than you expect, and you have to be really careful to find where my classes were, where the cafeteria was. So basically getting down all the important parts, and then find out what your college has to offer. For example, Northeast campus, they have student dentists there that'll do dental work for cheaper. At Trinity campus, of course, then you can actually, go into the science lab and just kind of make your own coffee there with their Keurig. That's a cool thing. If you bring the cup and your mug, you're good to go. So there's a lot of different things that you can find out by really understanding where you are.
Looking back, what things do you know now that would have made your life easier as a college freshman?
Always start, of course, with orientation and tours because that is the groundwork. But once you get past that, you might forget a lot or it might not have covered what you needed. So what I did, besides exploring on my own or visiting the campus before classes started, was to ask a lot of questions, honestly. Get to know about different places and different things. When I first went to the gym at Northeast campus, I actually asked the lady behind the desk if I could have a really short tour. She did not give me a short tour. She gave me one of the longest tours of my life. We went through everything, and it was really informative and helpful and helped me understand how all gyms work on every TCC campus, which was really helpful when I moved campuses too. Another thing that is super helpful is checking in at the library or the student center, for example, and seeing if they have any tips, because mostly when you're at a library or the student center, you will have people there who have worked there for a very long time, and they know where you can find things that you need or just things that are kind of cool. Like when I went to the library at Trinity River, then I found out about how to get markers for the study rooms, how to check out a laptop. So I think it's really helpful to ask a lot of questions and find out from people who are experienced and know the grounds really well. I would say that it's very important to be punctual. There were times when I would feel really rushed if I was feeling like I was starting to get late into classes, and that can be a lot for stress. That can make you really nervous and anxious, even though class shouldn't be that anxious. And it can also kind of trip you up when you were prepared maybe to do a presentation or anything else. So it's good to be at least 10 to 15 minutes early, especially if you have to walk a really long ways across campus. It's also important to be punctual online too, now that we're in this current situation. Being punctual online basically looks like getting in all your work on time for some classes or showing up to the live lectures. I tend to have tech problems right before I'm supposed to get on a meeting for some reason, but that's why it's good to plan ahead. It's really just smart to be punctual because that way professors and even people that you're going to interact with in clubs, organizations, leadership, or the administration know that they can depend on you and that you'll be responsible enough to show up on time. When you're on campus, distractions can be everywhere. You have to find a place that is quiet, that doesn't get a lot of traffic, and a place where you can really think without getting kind of your mind off track. For example, the Idea Store at Trinity River campus during quiet time. The music is soft, people aren't doing a lot of things that are distractive, and I get to be able to focus on what I'm doing while knowing that I'm not fully alone there. When I'm at home with online classes, then getting rid of distractions can be as simple as trying to get somebody else in your family to take care of pets while you're doing class or homework. Or perhaps making sure that you have your headphones in and some very non-distractive music playing in the background. It's also really good to get into a zone where you're not going to be distracted by social media or your phone especially, which means you have to turn your phone on Do Not Disturb. I would say the biggest tip that I have for any freshman is to be open to change, because things can change at a moment's notice. When we switched over to online, it took a little while for me to really adjust to it, going from fully on campus to fully online, and dealing with how it feels to be apart from your friends, your teachers, your work or job. But there's also change in form of majors. I remember I started when I wanted to first go to college with a very set idea in mind, but TCC was definitely not my first choice. And you have to adjust in your mind for things that are plausible and things that are better for you. It turns out TCC was the best option for me, and being there allowed me to meet more people, allowed me to make more connections, and allowed me to grow as a person. So that was a good change. It also allowed me to rethink what I wanted to do as far as a major and not be so narrow-minded. The third version of being adapted to change applies to classes and things like that. When you're changing classes, then that can be a little bit of a culture shock, but it isn't something to be too upset about, because in the end, there's a reason that your class got changed.
So how have your relationships with other students been helpful to your success?
Relationships is a big part of college. When I first started, I was kind of the type of student that wanted to keep their head down, not make friends, just get through class, go home at the end of my first semester. And I realized that it's really important to be involved and to find your place with other people. That's when I switched over to Trinity campus, and I was able to really get involved, especially with Chi Alpha. It allowed me to form lasting relationships and find a community that was not only something that could support me with friendship and love, but also with spiritual uplifting. It's hard enough to get through college without friends, but it's even harder to get through college without friends that pray for you. So being involved is one of the larger aspects of what you need to try to do in the first semester, because it can actually change how the rest of your college life goes.
Mary, thank you for your openness and honesty today. I want to thank each of you for connecting with us in this week's Freshmen 15. Let us know your thoughts about this topic and share topics you think we should cover. Remember, you're not in this journey alone, and when you're feeling stretched, it's only because you're learning. Before we go, Mary, do you have any word of encouragement for your peers?
If anybody had told me that I needed to reach out more my first year, I think that would have been really to my benefit, because it did not help for me to stay closed in inside myself for the entirety of my first semester. That was a really bad thing.